We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully your day is going well. By the time you hear this on the podcast, it will be Thursday. However, we are recording this as a TikTok live. So this is Thursday night. Got plenty of shit to talk about. We've got to start to gather some of the audience. I've got some of the regular guests coming up as well. And we've got a lot to talk about. Should be an interesting show. We've got a lot of regulars coming by. And of course, we talk to other people that are in the crowd here because it's important to hear from them as well as everybody else. So I'm going to see if we have some of our regulars in there as yet. I'm not seeing them yet, but we'll be getting to them, I'm sure, soon. We're still in the middle of a shutdown. We're still in the middle of this shutdown, and it's absolutely ridiculous that we are here. Donald Trump had always said, the Republicans had always said, it's America first. But what I find really strange here is that at first the report was we sent $20 billion to Argentina. Then new news came out today that said, no, in fact, it's more like 40 or $50 billion. Okay, you send that money to Argentina. Let me ask you, have you bailed out the farmers yet, Donald Trump? Are you paying the military yet, Donald Trump? Have we opened the country back up? The reason the country is shut down is because you want to take away health care from millions of people and quadruple the price to millions of other people. How does that end up being fucking America first? It's all a big scam. Everything Donald Trump does is a fucking scam. And we've got to find our way through this so we can come out the other side at this point. We got a lot of people coming in, so that's good news. We'll see if some of the other people. Okay, I've got a few people here that we know. We've got Trucker T with us and Rebecca. How are you folks doing?
I'm good, Mike. How are you?
Go ahead, Rebecca.
Oh, I said, good, Mike. How are you?
Well, I'm doing all right. I got TJ coming up too. Trucker.
On that topic, I guess Kash Patel has no problem paying the FBI still, even though the military and so many others aren't getting paid.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Okay, we got TJ the plumber with us now, and Trucker T. TJ, how you doing?
I'm good, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing all right. It's been a while since we've done a live, but I thought it was about time. Trucker T, you're out there still whipping it up on TikTok and other places. What's on your mind today?
Oh, well, what's on my mind today is I was watching a video earlier about the Venezuelan boats, right? Well, the narco speedboats, whatever.
Right.
And I heard a guy, I think it was a U.S. senator, and he says, this is not how we do it. So I started researching it, and he's right. What they typically do is if they have the information that that's what's on the boats, and once they get into American water, they'll seize the boat, they'll take inventory of what's on the boat, and if it's what they think it is, then those guys go to jail and they get a trial. But they don't get executed on the spot. And that's really bothering.
No.
Well, that's typically what we don't do. We don't execute and then figure out later if they were guilty. I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous. And the only reason Donald Trump is doing it this way is for performative reasons, to show that he's tough, that he's trying to do something. You have to understand, Donald Trump has had a string of continual losses, and he's desperately trying to find a win. And he thinks blowing up a fishing boat in the ocean is going to be a win. I guess desperate times call for desperate measures, and he is a desperate motherfucker, isn't he?
He is. So how isn't that like a war crime?
Yeah. It is. It is a war crime. You're executing foreign nationals in foreign waters. That's absolutely a war crime.
Yeah.
So does the international courts look at that, and does that matter to America? I know we don't subscribe to the ICC, but there's got to be some countries getting a little angry about the haphazard way they're going around killing people.
You would think. I mean, there's absolutely no proof. They haven't produced anything that would say otherwise. And like the first time they pulled this operation, they blew up a boat with like 11 people on it, which makes absolutely no sense because drug smugglers only care about moving weight. So they're not going to load down a boat with personnel on it that they don't need to carry less, product on their smuggle. That doesn't make any sense. And then
The,
the Venezuelan people, some woman came forward and said, "Hey, my husband went out fishing and he's gone. He disappeared." So what's that tell you?
well, the thing about it is I know the Trump administration tried to validate what they're doing. There was a small story that kind of went away very quickly, but they said, we found a bunch of drugs floating in the ocean, and that just proves these were drug boats. I don't know if you watched how these boats were blown up. Are you telling me you blow apart the boat, the engine, and the people in it, and the drugs are still intact? I find that hard to believe.
Well, he says there's dust, right? F dust and other dust. That's theft.
In,
there's
in the ocean?
Yeah.
How do you... In the ocean?
That's what he said.
Jesus Christ.
He said it
Yeah,
today.
they go and sweep it up with a broom when they're all done.
I mean, that is absolutely stupid. I'm going to pull somebody else up here because I talked to him yesterday about coming on, and we're going to talk to some other folks too. But this is Eric, who was on the podcast earlier today. Knowing Eric has a lot of insights and a lot of points to make. I've been watching this over and over to all of you, especially you, Eric. There's been a lot of talk on the shows about the shutdown by way of the not swearing in of Representative Grijalva from Arizona. Mike Johnson has been getting devastated by people. I mean, he's got members of Congress pounding on his door. He's got the Attorney General of Arizona looking to sue him. And he still keeps going along with this situation where he says, well, when we get back in session, and if you want to get back in session, make sure you tell the Democrats to open up the country again. This is just all bullshit. Session doesn't have to be open to swear anybody in, as Mike Johnson has proved multiple times in the last year. And the idea that the country is closed down because the Democrats want it. They keep trying to push that shit, but it's not working. How long before they realize that's fucked up and it's not working for them?
I don't know how long it's going to end up ultimately being, but she did get the keys to her office. I don't know if you saw that. She has an office space now, but no access to budget. She can't hire any staff, can't do any work. And the office they gave her has no working phone lines, no computer, and no internet access. So she has a space at least, but that's about it. How long does he go before he swears her in? I think he swears her in when public outcry against the shutdown turns, when they believe it's turned against the Republican Party. They still think they're winning the narrative fight at this point. They haven't realized that most people blame the Republicans.
Well, don't you guys think he's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place too, though? Maybe he's waiting for the tide to turn and people start supporting him. It's not going that way. It's not going to happen. It's so ridiculously an attempt to delay or cover up the Epstein files. He knows it. Everybody knows it. The problem here is that he's got the dictator at top, and Donald Trump, telling him, don't do it, don't do it. No matter how stupid it is, no matter how ridiculous it is, Donald Trump will keep saying don't do it, and that weak-ass motherfucker will continue to bend to Donald Trump. There's where the problem is.
Yeah, he got Donald Trump holding the reins back because they don't want to hold the vote on the Epstein files. And ultimately, he's going to have to cave, but I think he ends up being out as speaker at some point anyway, like we talked about yesterday on the podcast, or today's podcast. So ultimately, he's going to have to swear her in. When that is,
yeah,
I don't know, but this whole thing is ridiculous. She needs to be sworn in. I mean, and I've heard there are Republicans that are getting pissed that Mike Johnson's not swearing her in. Well, what those that are mad about her not getting sworn in should do, one of them should just go up, sign the discharge petition, put it at 218 votes. Just because you sign the discharge petition doesn't mean you got to vote in favor of it. So sign it. Say, hey, let's pull it for a vote. And then he's got no excuse not to swear her in.
Well, there's one problem with that, though. Donald Trump very clearly stated that anybody who signs to release the Epstein files is considered an enemy of the administration. The enemy of the administration, and apparently they're fearful of that. But there's got to come a point when these people realize it's too costly with their constituents than really caring about Donald Trump. Donald Trump still has an iron fist around these Republicans' neck, and for the life of me, I don't get it. He keeps losing, and he keeps losing. I mean, he wanted the country to shut down. Donald Trump wants the country to shut down. That's why there's been no negotiation. Donald Trump isn't letting them negotiate over it. So Donald Trump tries to intimidate the Democrats, first by saying, well, if we shut down the country, there's going to be mass firings. And in fact, he does start some mass firings, 4,000, 5,000 people. But a court today said, nah, motherfucker, you can't do that. And then Donald Trump comes out once the shutdown is out there. He says, well, if it stays shut down, I'm going to start cutting Democratic programs, which is silly because most of those Democratic programs help red states. But far be it from me to try to tell Donald Trump what to do. He's going to be a dumb fucker on his own.
Yeah, that whole thing is dumb. He says he's cutting Democratic programs, which almost all of the programs that he deems Democratic, at least modern programs, were passed with bipartisan support. So what does that tell you? And they help red states. But then when he cuts funding, just like the firings, judges say, no, dipshit, you can't do that because Congress controls the purse.
Yeah, it's I'm getting to the point, and this is odd for me. I'm getting to the point where I really believe the Republicans would have some kind of spine and push back against Donald Trump if things got too crazy. And clearly, that's not happening at all. They're letting him run wild and do whatever the hell he wants. You know, we always heard about the Republicans talking about a civil war. I almost wonder if it's necessary to have some kind of stronger pushback to try to break this up and get moving in the right direction. It seems like the Republicans do what they want. The Democrats talk good, but there's nothing they can do to stop this. Like, for example, this swearing in of Representative Grijalva. This seems like a simple thing. You would think there's some rule, law, guideline, guardrail, or something that forces them to do it. But alas, there is not. I'm really disappointed in this government because it seems to be far weaker than we ever believed it was.
So, Mike, I got a question for you. I'm stuck on ships tonight, but during the No Kings protest, this just came out with Aaron Parnas. They're supposed to be shooting off, missiles in California to kind of offset this No Kings Day parade. Some stupid thing with J.D. Vance. What do you make of that? Do you think he's saying, hey, listen, if you guys want to march on No Kings, I'm going to show you how strong I am. We're going to have a makeshift military parade and shoot off our naval ship missiles.
Well, we know how well attended the last parade went. So, yeah, go ahead and have a parade. Bring a dozen donuts because that's about all you're going to fucking need. Well, Donald Trump is just, everything he does is a distraction or an intimidation, you know. He wants to distract from this No Kings parade or protest. And the thing about it is what I love about it is they're all fucking terrified of it because they're all trying to change the narrative. Oh, this is a hate America protest, or these are people who support Hamas. It's all really ridiculous. It's all really lame. And they know this is going to hit hard. We might have 20 million people in the streets. and this is not going to look good. It's going to be impossible to divert from it. Anything Donald Trump does is one of two things. It's either an intimidation tactic to get you to back down, or it's some kind of distraction to take your focus from something that's happening he doesn't like. And as you note, as of late, it isn't fucking working. He's not doing a very good job of it. He fails every time.
Yeah, I think Congress needs to step on this one. Step up for this one, though.
Did you hear about the leaked DHS memo today?
No, please tell us.
There's a DHS memo that got leaked out. It was sent to local law enforcement from DHS all across the country, and it's claiming that the No Kings protests are a guise for domestic terrorism. So it's all a guise. So basically, what they're saying is everyone who's going to these protests is a domestic terrorist.
Well, yeah. Well, and people are going out there saying, well, they're just going to do this and they're going to put in the Insurrection Act and take over the country and the military is going to do this and that. Let me tell you something. If you've got 20 million people in every major city in the country, and all you have to do is look at the map at nokings.org where all the protests are, almost every inch of the map is covered. And you want to try to invoke the Insurrection Act, it's not going to work. There's too many fucking people, and there'll be too much pushback from the military at this point. They're already annoyed with all these National Guard people going to cities that they can't even do anything in. They're standing around with their thumbs up their asses. Donald Trump is at that state where a narcissist is moments away from crashing and burning. You can tell because he's flailing and he's doing anything that comes to mind, and he's grabbing as high or going as low as possible. He'll say anything. He'll do anything because he's fucking desperate. And that's the good news of this at this point.
Yeah, he's exactly desperate. I mean, this idea of firing missiles from ships into Camp Pendleton, I mean, if it goes wrong, I don't even know if they actually will fire him. I think that whole thing is a dumb idea. But coming from this administration, dumb seems to be the course of action.
Well, when Donald Trump says something, you got to take it with a grain of salt. He said he was going to bail out the farmers. Hadn't done that yet. Said he was going to pay the military. Hadn't done that yet. So you got to wonder what he really fucking means and if he actually plans on coming through with anything.
Yeah, Eric, what could possibly go wrong?
Right. I mean, that's this administration's philosophy is, well, what could go wrong? But did you hear his comments about the No Kings protest? This shows you how desperate he is. He said, well, I don't think anybody's really going to show up. He said that in an interview. As there's going to be about 20 million people out there. So now he's given himself cover for when the news organizations either don't show it. He can say, well, the news organizations didn't cover it, so clearly no one showed up. Or he could say it's all I or it's some bullshit. Because he said, well, I told you no one was going to show up.
He's such a piece of shit.
Yeah. Well, he'll either say nobody showed up or they were all paid. Yeah, 20 million people fucking paid. Yeah. That's incredible. The thing is that or he'll just kind of gloss over it. This isn't going to be good for him. It's going to look very poorly on him. I'm going to pull somebody up here, see if I can find it. All right, let's pull this person up. Okay. I have a feeling I couldn't see the whole name, but it sounds like the bitchiest feminist, possibly. Are you there?
Bitchy, yeah. Hi. It's kind of my little way to jerk people off. It's the bitchy feminist. They call me the bitchy. Hi. Long-time listener. I've been with you for years since you started. Nice to be here.
Thank you.
I respect
Thank
you guys.
you very much. And I will say this, all my years of doing the TikToks and the podcast, I'm going to be listening very closely to what you have to say because I think there's some other contenders for bitchiest. I'm just saying, you're going to have to pull it out of your ass here to prove that you are the bitchiest, because I'm not feeling that right now.
Oh, well, I'm being nice right now. Normally I enter lives late at night and they don't really like me on those lives. So I'm up and I'm here and I'm present.
Well, you and TJ should tag team because he does the same goddamn thing.
Yeah, I bet. But I wanted to say this. I think that we're like not a lot of people aren't looking at like what's really going on in this whole corruption and the big what I call the biggest heist on the American people. What he's doing is the biggest grift on the American people, and he's selling out America brick by brick. And it's unfortunate because a lot of people don't understand. Like if you were just talking about the farmers, and I did my studies on that, and I looked into it. And JD Vance is one of the main investors, along with Peter Thiel, with Egg Trader.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's going to take care of the farmers, and they don't know it yet. They'll be bought out.
Well, and that's the thing. He's made this promise that he's going to bail them out. And when they tell me, well, he's going to bail them out, I go, yeah, that's coming from a pathological liar. And the first time he bailed them out with like $50 billion. Now he's talking about $10 billion. Even if he comes up with the $10 billion, it's not going to be enough to do any good. People will buy into the lies until they get burned, and then they'll give them excuses for fucking it up.
Well, soon it'll be nothing. And what's going to happen is Egg Trader's going to buy them off. And they don't understand that. And then what's going to happen is Egg Trader's going to buy off the farmers and then go ahead and hire those farmers back on their own land and tell them basically like, you're going to manage it and give them a paycheck. That's exactly
So
what's going to happen.
which means these farmers are going to go from farmers running their own business to little more than sharecroppers.
Yeah, to ownership, to being ruled by corporate oligarchy.
Hell, that sounds fun. I mean, we hear people talking about the farmers. This is what they voted for. And, one of the things about the farmers that always struck me so strange, okay, you got bamboozled or you got lied to. But my problem is they went through this very same thing in the first term. They got bailed out, but they saw what happened, and they voted for it again. Did they think it was going to work out differently? Do you think it was going to get better? Apparently they did because they still voted for it. It's just unbelievable to me.
Yeah, same. I agree with you, but I think that they always are looking for that bailout now, which we call socialism, which I think is ironic. You're against socialism, you're voting against your own interests and your own rights, and then yet you're doing it again because a lot of those farmers are still sticking by him. I kind of like did my research on it. They're still standing by this man. And you got to understand too that these people also go to church and give tithings, like 10% of their income to the churches. And this is what they're being taught. These mega churches aren't doing any of us, anything positive. They're actually influencing them to go further. And this is part of, WCN. This is part
Yeah.
of the movement.
Yeah. Smokey Bear in the comments says, don't worry, Donald will take care of the farmers.
Sure.
Smokey the Bear,
No,
I
he
think he
won't.
already has. He already took care of them, and it's not good. He got them their welfare and their socialism on the first term, but he's
Well, I
not
think
going
that
to do it
he
this
also,
time.
this person who just responded to you also needs to realize that they also got backdoored because China just bought all the soybeans. So they
Right.
just lost that. I mean, I don't think that Trumpers are actually like paying attention to what's really happening because not to be mean, but these fucking people don't read. They don't read, they don't do their own research. They just take everything that they hear from Fox propaganda, OAN, who just signed that fucking agreement with the Pentagon. It's
Yeah.
insane.
The only one.
Yep. The only one that will do it. I'm kind of surprised that all these other legacy medias didn't jump on board. I'm actually surprised. But maybe they're learning that solidarity and coming together and is the ultimate power. Maybe they're figuring that out.
Well, hopefully that's true. But like you say, the farmers don't read. I mean, here's what we know. Farmers are getting their ass kicked because China is not buying their soybeans and tariffs in other areas as well. They're getting their ass kicked. Donald Trump sent $20 billion down to Argentina. Now they say it's 40 or $50 billion.
It's
For
40
what
billion.
reason?
40
For what
million.
reason did he send it down there? He did it
Oh, I
in hopes of helping his radical right leader will win the election. And he went as far as saying, if they don't vote for this guy, I may not send the money. So this is
actually actually the
absolute
reason why
bullshit.
actually the reason why this is happening is because his billionaire investors, he talked a couple of them into investing into Argentina, and they did
Yeah.
invest because they're looking for the lithium, and they're looking for, because they have to farm all these AI things. They invested into
Yeah.
Argentina. They were talked into it. Argentina's folding, so now he has to overcompensate for what he fucked up on. He has to clean up his
Yeah.
mess and make sure that his
Hey,
billionaires get their money back, their investment.
yeah, but
Yeah.
you can guarantee without a doubt it started at 20 and then it went to 40. There's a
Yeah.
cut in there. There's a cut in there where he gets a taste.
Oh, I'm
Oh
sure.
Oh,
yeah.
no
You
question.
know what? I just read something on that they're doing that and they're using Bitcoin to get the money back to him. I don't know if that's true. I
It
haven't
sounds
researched
good.
it yet.
It sounds like a good way to do it.
Yep. Like if you look at everything that they're doing, look at Eric. He's his good boy. He's a good boy. He's hooking him up with another country to go out and do his bidding again. He has his kids going out and doing his bidding, and he's working off of that his kids are doing it, which is basically um why are we paying taxes? Why are we giving all this money? Because that's our tax money.
Well,
There is
exactly.
it's like taxation without representation. We're
Yeah.
being fooled.
Eric was over in Dubai yesterday with the billionaire guy setting up the crypto thing. And then you've got
Yes.
his other son getting 80 million. I mean, you're exactly right. This is the biggest grift that ever happened.
In American history, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Like if you even look at any other grift that we ever had, what was that one grift that what's his name did that did prison time with the whole Wall Street? What was that
Ponzi
called? You
scheme?
remember? What was
Ponzi?
it
Bernie
called?
Madoff. Bernie
Yeah, it was
Ponzi
a
and
Madoff.
Ponzi
Bernie,
scheme.
Bernie
That's it.
Madoff.
That's it. Thank you. It was Bernie Madoff. So we're going through that, but we're doing it on a different level. He's learned because he put all those loyalists, these loyal people who are also corrupt, along with the Heritage Foundation, who also have their own agenda. You put all those people, they have one thing, an agenda, and that's taking over the American people. It may not be the same rhyme, it may not be the same like ideology, but they're one thing in common that they've all formed together and they fell in line is to make sure that they take over America and take over the American people. And then also get rid of our Constitution because that's also the thing that's stopping them from proceeding the way that they need to for their own agendas.
Does it surprise you? It surprises me because I thought something totally different. Does it surprise you that the Republican Party has just gone along with it, no matter how crazy, no matter how stupid it is? The Republicans have put up no guardrails and just supported him all along the way while he's grifting this country and the world and while he's doing literally illegal things every fucking day. When are the Republicans going to step up and say, enough, Donnie, you're either going to stop or get the fuck out of here?
They're not going to, and the reason why I believe majority will not is because a lot of these Republicans are part of that WCN. If you even notice things that people don't notice, if you look at Johnson, he flies a flag outside of his office. It's a Peel to Heaven flag. It's also the same flag that a lot of other WCNs fly. And we also have a SCOTUS who flew that same flag.
Right.
If you have to connect the dots, and it takes time, it takes research. I love reading. I study constitutional law. I'm a former police officer. Um, I'm I'm retired now. I wanted to become an attorney and do constitutional law, but life got in the way. But I continue
Yeah.
my studies, and I can tell you that if you connect the dots, you'll see the whole agenda. And this is all part of the Heritage Foundation. This is something that has been taken on that they've been in the progress of doing for 45 something plus years. And on our almost 250th anniversaries is when they thought they were going to, implement it. I found out about Project 2025 about 2 years ago, and I started speaking about it. Everyone thought I was a fucking nut. I mean, I lost so many friends, And a lot of my friends, like I said, I'm a former Republican. Um, a lot of my friends thought I was crazy. A lot of my cop friends were messaging me and telling me that, like, what happened to you? And I go, well, for one, I'm retired. Two, I decided to join another career. I traveled the world. I became a flight attendant. And I was so stuck in being a police officer and boxed in with my thought process that when I actually flew around and traveled the world and met different people, and I did that for 5 years, I met people that opened up my mind, expanded my mind, and I kind of progressed because I was so boxed in. Um, from that experience, I didn't know like half the shit being a police officer 'cause I only saw one thing. I can tell you that there's a big world out there. And a lot of us who are stuck in those boxes don't see what's really out there. And that's part of indoctrination. And I hate to say this, but law enforcement is a type of indoctrination. They tear you down to build you back up to have a thought process, to make you think a certain way, to work a certain way.
Would you say the culture generally in law enforcement, at least what you experience, are more all of them more pointed toward the conservative side or
Definitely
the
yes.
treasonous side in this situation, and they'll buy into anything the conservatives tell them?
Definitely yes. I've had conversations with cop friends because we kind of debate a little bit about some stuff that I'm still social with. And one of the things they found out about me is that I'm an atheist. Back in my day
Okay.
when I was a cop, because I'm 57 years old, I'm maybe 58. Back in my day when I was on duty, we didn't talk about our religion. All we cared about, we're on the same team. We just want to protect our community. We want to make sure we take care of our people and take care of our own. We didn't say like, hey, are you a Christian or are you like, what do you believe in? That never got brought up. But now it's brought up all the time. My daughter is now, she's, in her late 30s. She is now a law enforcement officer herself, and she's gay. And she tells me, and I like to get a little bit about like how how that whole thing is holding up and how that whole how to explain this without being like weird, how this little club, I call it a club, how they're dealing with it. And she tells me like, no, they talk about religion all the time now, like, hey, are you a Christian? Like, there are even some places that like pray in a briefing. That never existed back in my time
Wow.
because you're supposed to be apolitical. And my daughter's also a Marine, so she believes in apolitical. So it's shocking to hear, that we're bringing that stuff up in law enforcement. That should not be. You have to remain apolitical. You're there to do a job because if you allow your beliefs to interfere with your duty, that would worry me because that can actually, it can interfere with your thought process. And I've seen it happen already. Look at ICE. I'm against
Yeah.
ICE. And I can tell you this
Well,
about ICE: these people are not trained law enforcement officers. They're not law enforcement officers in general. And I always tell people they are not LEs. They're not Leos. And one of the arguments that I have with my law enforcement officer friends is like, no, but they're federal. So you have to respect it. And I go, no, they're not. I disagree with you. They're taking Proud Boys, they're taking people who probably couldn't make it in law enforcement. They're taking like all these people who are kind of misfits and putting them into this group. And then they're deputizing them to go out and do a job that they're not trained for. And watching his videos, I can tell you they're not trained at all. I was also on a SWAT team. I'm a breacher. I did my time. So I can tell you that these people have no tactical. They don't have any experience on the rules of arrest. They don't have any experience on due process rights. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. This is what we call a Gestapo. This is a free for all.
yeah.
And if we don't
Yeah.
stop this right now, we're in fucking trouble.
How do you do that? What's the best advice as somebody with your experience and the reading you've done? What's the best way to try to stop this? I mean, I've gotten to the point where it's almost you got to fight, and
Okay,
that's not
so you want to
something I
know what
want
I
to
believe
see.
in? I believe this is kind of outrageous, but because we're at this point right now where it's getting bad every single day and worse by the moment, there's a point where we have to consider that maybe our founding fathers wrote the Second Amendment for this moment in history. I mean, I hate to say that, but I don't know.
Well, as a matter of fact, they did write it for this
Yeah,
reason. I
they did
mean,
against tyranny.
against tyranny. And you're absolutely right. And I've thought the same thing. And nobody wants to espouse violence of any sort.
No, because
And we
people are
wouldn't
scared of it.
have to. Well, they're terrified of it. And the thing is, we wouldn't have to do that if the people in Congress did what they were supposed to do. And I'm talking specifically about the Republicans, but the Democrats too.
It goes for
If
both
they
sides.
would have, it does, if they pulled back the reins and stopped this clown from doing it, we wouldn't have to get that far. But now that they haven't done it, I'm afraid we're getting closer to that option, and that
Yeah,
is
it's something
troubling.
that it's something I'm not like trying to fearmonger, but it's something that we do need to consider because we have to protect our Constitution. If we don't have a Constitution, we don't have a democracy. And once we lose
Right.
that, that's it. It's gone. I mean,
Then it is a free for all.
it's a free for all. And one thing that we need to consider is that once we lose our democracy, you can't really get that back. And like our founding father said, democracy is not free. You have to fight for it.
Hey, Mike, I got a
You
Right.
question for Bitchy. I hate to
go ahead.
call her that, but I don't know what else to call her.
No, my name is Yvette. You can call me. My name is
Okay, thank
Yvette.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's
So,
okay.
Yvette, with your background, and the way you were just talking about the ICE officers, would you, if you were one of these ICE officers, would you be nervous when this thing is all said and done that you could be prosecuted?
Yeah, that's if you want to go back and look at the Nuremberg trials, that's one of those things that happened. And I truly believe that every single person will be held accountable later on. It's going to
Good.
take some time. It may not happen now, but one of the things that people need to do is record everything. Record every little thing that you see. If you happen to encounter something like this, record it. Say who you are, ask them if they have a warrant, ask them if they can identify themselves. Where are you from? And a number one thing that I would do, because some of these guys are now, you know, they're basically taking out their firearms and pointing it at people. If that
Yeah.
happens, get on your phone, call 911 and say, I have a man with a gun. There's a kidnapping in progress. I hate to say it, but
But
that's
what
what we
do
need to do.
But when the police show up and they see it's ICE, what do the police do at that point? I mean, that's the real question. Are the police going to protect the citizens, or are they going to help ICE?
I
Like
think it goes
that.
by
That's a
state by state. It's a state by
yeah,
state thing. I think I live in California. So in California, you got more of the community coming forward and like engaging. Like I worked in LA. One of the cities in my area and region is called Bell. And a couple of months ago, before they left, they went in and they took over Bell and they were taking people off the streets like crazy, and the community engaged. Even the fire department engaged. You can go look at the videos. Put up Bell PD and fire department engaging with ICE. They scared them out. They blocked the whole streets. It wasn't violent. They blocked them. They shamed them, and the fire department even came in and pushed them out, and they left. I mean, there were a few people who flattened their tires and they left with flattened tires, but other than that, there was no like violence against them.
right, right.
And I can tell you this, a lot of police officers that were there, I know personally, and they're also in that video because I saw a lot of my friends in that video. They did not engage with ICE. They actually protected the protesters.
That's good. That's good to know.
You
Yeah,
have to think
while
that
I've got
even some of the cops that may not generally be on the side of right are getting sick of these people being in their cities and all the like crap that's
Well,
going
because
on
what
and
it's
like they're
doing
just
is creating chaos. I
yeah,
mean,
exactly.
I can tell you that if
Cops do
I
not
was
want chaos.
Yeah, I can tell you this, if I were still on patrol and somebody came into my community and created this type of chaos, I wouldn't do very well. I'd probably get fired because I would arrest them. I would arrest them for
yeah,
kidnapping. I would arrest because they're not identifying themselves. Like there's a whole bunch of freaking crimes that I see, and I'm that type of person. I test the system. And I've always been that way as a police officer. If I saw injustice, I especially even from my own department, I would say, go ahead, try me. Do
Right.
it. I
Well,
mean, that's just
when
the way I'm built.
when you violate people's civil rights, you lose your qualified immunity.
Yes, you do.
So all these motherfuckers that are grabbing people, U.S. citizens, and detaining them, that's a violation of their civil rights. So at
Yeah,
some
so
point, they're gonna lose their qualified immunity, and they're gonna be personally held responsible for
They'll
the
be
crime they
personally
committed.
sued. They'll be
Yes.
personally sued. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. And that's one thing that I had conversations with my daughter, who's a police officer. Um, don't get involved. And she even knows, don't engage. People in law enforcement, a lot of them, I hate to say this, their ego gets the best of them. And
Yeah.
there's a few, and it sucks. There's bad apples in every group. But soon enough, people are going to find out when this all blows over and this chaos is over, everyone's going to be held accountable for what they did. And we're going to have our own
That
American version of the Nuremberg trials.
What is that breaking point, though? I mean, I would personally, I thought, there'd be some limitations and we would have had that breaking point before now, especially with all that's happened. I'm wondering what that breaking point is. Is it going to be the Epstein files? Is it going to be the No King's March with credible amounts of people? Is it going to be the orange guy keeling over with a Big Mac in his gullet? What's going to maybe the change?
Well, one thing that I can say is that you don't want Trump to expire just yet because you don't want JD Vance in that position. He's the worst of all of it. He's the one that's going to implement in full throttle Project 2025. Let's not forget, they pretty much almost have 50% of it completed. And that should worry
Yeah,
people.
this is what I'll say about J.D. Vance, though, and I understand J.D. Vance isn't a better human than Donald Trump. He's not a better politician than Donald Trump. He's younger, presumably a little more cognitively normal, but he's lacking something that Donald Trump doesn't have. Nobody's afraid of J.D. Vance. Half the Republicans don't even like him. He would not be able to pull off the things that Donald Trump can pull off because at that point, when Donald Trump is out of the way, there's going to be a lot of things coming out about him. At that point, the Republicans may want to separate themselves from Donald Trump, and J.D. Vance will never be able to do that. I'm not saying it's going to be great if he is the president. I'm just saying it won't be quite as terrifying as it is with Donald Trump because Donald Trump presumably gets away with anything, and I don't think J.D. Vance will.
Yeah. But SCOTUS allowed this president that we call to get away with everything by giving him that little, thing that they did. So he's taken out full throttle. I mean, and then it doesn't help that you have Stephen Miller in his ear.
Yeah.
I really honestly think that Trump has cognitive issues. I
Oh, no
believe that
question.
and I believe that a lot of stuff, if you even look at the videos of him, a lot of shit he doesn't know. When he's being questioned by actual
He doesn't know
journalists who are,
anything.
when actual journalists are giving him hardball questions, he doesn't know shit because
No.
that's not who's running the show. It's Miller, Russell Bott, Heritage Foundation, and all these other fucking crazies like Gnome and all these fucking weirdos.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Mike, he knows about reverse bathtubs. I can tell you that.
About what?
Reverse. What is that?
What's that? What's that?
I sent TJ the video. He was in front of his billionaire buddy today talking about reverse bathtubs and just yapping on and on and on. And
What's a reverse bathtub?
I have no idea. TJ, help me out with the reverse bathtub. You said you know about it.
All right. Well, it's not. I don't know if he's talking about a freestanding bathtub, but I don't know if you guys know what that is. The freestanding bathtub is like the one where it sits in the middle of the room and you can't see any of the pipes. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know if he's
Yeah.
talking about that, but there is a company that makes like some swanky fixtures, and they have something called the reverse bathtub. And all it is, it's a bathtub, like a regular bathtub that kind of is freestanding, and then it has a wet wall, which is a shower, where the shower controls are.
Uh-huh.
All it has is it has two folding doors on it, so like you can use it as a shower, but really it's a bathtub. You know what I'm saying? I
But
don't know.
why is he even
What's his
talking about it?
purpose? But what's his purpose? Like, I don't get it. What's the
It
purpose?
absolutely is. It doesn't make any fucking sense why he would talk about that. He said they're only for emergencies.
And this
when
is
he-
Trump. This is Trump who said this?
Yeah, and the only thing I could think of when he said it's only for emergencies means that when he shits his pants, they
There you go.
Freaking giant bidet.
into the reverse bathtub, so they can hose him down while he stands there. That's the
Yeah,
only
if
thing
you
I can think of that would be an
hey,
emergency.
if you notice, he has like an obsession with toilets, flushing, and bathtubs. I guess now bathtubs is the newest thing. He has a toilet asphyxiation. It's really weird.
Yeah,
He does. He does.
Hmm.
He does it.
He has
But
no
that's
concept
projection.
of a
It's
lot of things.
projection. I'm going to take it as
yeah.
this. It's probably projection. That's what he does. Everything he says that he does is what he's doing. He's been doing that since day one. I mean,
Well,
Yeah.
when
if you go back and look at Trump, which I've studied forever, look back at Fred Trump. I mean, Fred Trump wasn't the most amazing dad. Roy Cohn got into his picture and taught him this behavior. The way that you look at his narcissism, malignant narcissism, and sociopathic behaviors and character traits is because he connected with Roy Cohn because Roy Cohn had those same issues as well. Roy
Yeah.
Cohn just taught him how to maneuver through the court system and how to take advantage of people by basically depleting their funds by putting them through the courts.
Yeah. Yvette, I'm going to let you go because I got to get some other people up here. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have you on. And if you ever want to be on the podcast where it's just like you and I or you and I and somebody else, let me know. You can reach out to me at rationalboomer@gmail.com or touch base with TJ. Seems a lot of people go through TJ because I don't always look at my
Okay.
emails
I
as
would love
closely as
that.
I should. But yeah, I would love to just sit down with you and talk because you obviously have a plethora of knowledge and experiences that I think a lot of people could get some value with. So please do that.
yeah,
I would love that.
I'm easy to get a hold of, and I answer everyone. So if you send me a
There,
message, I will definitely answer you.
Aside
Okay,
from
cool.
that
Thank you.
that
Thank
sounds good.
you.
Well, thank you, Yvette, for joining us. It's always great to hear from people like that, and we're always very lucky that we get some very smart people in the audience to pop on. Speaking of that, here's a regular. It is, I think she's coming. There she is.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oliver's mom, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. I just want to tag on to some of the ICE stuff that y'all have been talking about. I actually spoke to someone who is of the MAGA persuasion, and they are all for the masks and the no badges and all that stuff because their theory is without that for those badges and those masks, or with if they had those, let's go the other way with it. If they had those badges and didn't wear the masks, people would be following them home and harassing them.
Oh, imagine that.
Yeah.
Somebody following them home and harassing them, the very thing that they're doing. Well, I will
Yes.
tell you this, Oliver's mom, I'm guessing, knowing the Trump administration, even if they do wear a mask, when this is all said and done, guarantee you there's some lists with
Yes.
names and addresses on them.
Exactly. And then I have a kind of a bizarre thing to bring up. I actually know someone who wanted their grandchild to be born yesterday. Now, can anybody imagine why they wanted their grandson to be born yesterday?
Yeah, because it was a Charlie Kirk's birthday and Remembrance Day, right?
That would be correct.
You know what else
I
yesterday was? You know what
what
else, interestingly enough? It
what?
was George Floyd's birthday.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it was also my 42nd wedding anniversary.
Yeah, yeah,
So
but I couldn't
I
believe
celebrated
that one.
this.
I was like, you've got to be kidding me. That's just cult cult activity to the max right there.
Yeah, congrats, Mike.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, congrats.
Hey, well, that's what I said about the Charlie thing was that I didn't know much about him beforehand and don't care much about him after that. It's not a matter of being happy somebody had a tragedy. I don't. We have so many tragedies in this country. I'm more worried about the little kids being dragged out of apartment buildings naked and zip tied. I'm more worried about those folks. I'm
Yes.
worried about the people in our military that aren't getting their checks and have to go to food shelves to fucking eat, or the farmers that are going to have to sell or lose their farms. I'm kind of worried about them. I don't have time to worry about one little guy that talks some shit. I'm sorry. I just don't care.
Yeah. Now I had the last 2 days I had to spend, actually the last 3 days, I had to spend a lot of time watching Fox because I had my mom staying with me, and just the praise and the, of everything Kirk, and then the whole Trump and Israel and the peace agreement and all that kind of stuff, or the ceasefire agreement. It drove me absolutely crazy to listen to all that stuff, because you can't,
Yeah.
I personally, I don't think it's going to hold. I don't think the ceasefire is going to hold.
No, it's not holding now.
Yeah, I give it
Yeah.
a week to 10 days to totally blow up. Totally blow up.
Kim, I got a question for you
Yeah.
because this is in your neck of the woods. What do you think about the government being shut down as it is, and Mar-a-Lago is holding $1 million per plate fundraiser?
Yeah, I know. That's crazy. I mean, yeah, there are certain things that I see a lot of down here, and then there's certain things that the rest of the country has that I see none of down here. And it's just, it's like especially in this area close to Mar-a-Lago, it's like it's a different world down here. We're not seeing a lot of the stuff that are seen everywhere else. It's like it's isolated. Um, because I guess he doesn't want it to be in his own backyard. He doesn't want to have all the negative stuff in his own backyard. He wants to be able to say that everything's good here, and it doesn't reflect the rest of the country. It really doesn't.
Well, let me
Um,
ask a let me ask a question about that. I would have to imagine that people who are unhappy with what's going on must go down near Mar-a-Lago and protest. What happens in that case? Do they try
um,
to usher
there's
them out
not
of there?
the couple of times I've been down there. There isn't a whole lot of protests down there. There's a lot of police presence down there. There's a lot of Secret Service presence down there. There's, people just don't go into that area a whole lot to do that type of stuff. I would have thought the same thing too. It's like they barricade and block off, you know, large portions of the neighborhood around there, and you can't get in. And if you do get in, they'll move you out really quick. They push the traffic out really fast, so there's no way to really stop and do anything that close to it.
Well, Kim, over and above Mar-a-Lago or that area, you live in Florida,
Hmm.
and we know what Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump has done to that place, whether
Oh
they
yeah.
vote Republican or not. You guys are going through a lot of shit. I mean, people can't afford insurance.
Oh
You can't sell houses down there. The
yes.
economy's got to suck in Florida. There's got to be a lot of negative things happening in Florida. What do you get for the climate down there? And I'm not talking about weather. I'm talking about how people are feeling. Are they still holding strong with Trump like they've done in the elections, or are they
Mm,
starting to get a little wary of what's going
yeah,
on?
they are getting wary. I don't see nearly as many flags flying, Trump flags flying. I don't see as many as the positive crowds. We had one corner that would have, Trump crowds there all the time, and people would go by honking their horns. I think I mentioned this on somebody's live a while back. I went through that intersection once, and there was one lonely man standing on the corner with his little, like, 11 by 17 Trump um, flag, and nobody was honking, nobody was making any noise. And I basically, the way traffic is down here, you have to do a lot of U-turns because of how the roads are set up. And I actually had to go through that intersection twice for the errand I was running. Nothing. He wasn't getting any support. He wasn't getting any honking. You don't see the flags hanging off the back of the pickup trucks anymore. There's nothing on the lawns anymore. But the thing of it is, too, we have a lot of HOAs down here and a lot of condo associations, and they've all pretty much banned any political flags or banners or anything. So you really don't see it within the communities anymore because of that. They did it around the election and everything, but a lot of the communities were making people take it down, regardless of whether it was Biden stuff or Trump stuff or Kamala stuff. It all had to come down after the election. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, the prices are bad down here. gas fluctuates. Gas averages right around 3. It goes up to 320 sometimes. It goes down to 285. It's never steady, and that can be within a week. Within the same week, it can be 320 one day, and 2 days later, it'll be 285. It's like
Yeah.
nothing's steady down here. Yes, everybody complains about the normal stuff, like you said, the taxes and all that. But that's been like that down here. That was down here like that through Biden too, because like you said, DeSantis has made the taxes go up, the insurance go up, all that kind of stuff. Insurance, it depends on who you get it from. It can be reasonable. It depends on the county that you're in.
Yeah.
Some counties are higher than other counties. Like I said, it's not consistent. It's all over the
Yeah.
place.
I'm going to bring somebody else in here just to see what is on their mind. You can hang with us, Kim. We've got Vaughn coming in. Hopefully, if he hooks up here, it's not looking good. Yeah, it looks like something. I don't know if it's a technical thing or he just isn't ready or whatever, but let me grab somebody else here and get a different perspective of what's going on. We've got Laguna Larry. I don't think we've talked to Laguna Larry before, but Larry, how are you doing and what's on your mind? Seems like very little.
He's watching TV.
And it's probably just as well because I hit the wrong one there. I meant to hit this one, and this one I know will be there based on past history. What the fuck, JoJo?
Here I am.
What's that? Here you are. What's on your mind?
Oh my gosh. Well, going back to the police officer guest you had to, some of the comments she was making. What I've been trying to, and I got CBG'd over this, and this is another incarnation of the same account, slightly changing the name because I've been posting a lot of stuff about what Donald Trump is actually doing to the country. And if some of the people here that are older remember the corporate raiders of the 80s, you remember that?
Yeah.
That's what he's doing to our government. He is literally raiding the government and taking the funds out of our government agencies and sources and basically repositioning it outside our country. And I think it was TJ that said he's definitely getting a kickback. You absolutely know that he is. He's taking the country apart bit by bit, just like the corporate raiders did. They are tearing it down. He is reallocating the money, using every kind of reason to get it to his buddies in other countries who are going to give it, some of it back to him, maybe all of it. Who knows what he has on them individually. And it's a system of deconstruction of not just the government and the Constitution itself and the values, but the actual physical funding, the actual money that helps the government run. And October 1st, everything was already in motion to pay out a lot of people monies that were due them, like Social Security, disability payments. Unfortunately, the military did not fall in that group because that's a process that started weeks before, right? It's automated. Let's see what happens in November. Let's see who doesn't get their money in November. That's going to change a lot of people's attitudes. A lot of the MAGA are going to see that, not just the farmers.
Well, as I understand it, Social Security gets paid regardless. So whether there's a shutdown or not, there's a system set up for that. Whether that holds or not, who knows? But at least at the moment, that's in place. If you didn't pay people Social Security, there would be an uprising. There should be an uprising for our military not to get paid. That's the one thing everybody says, well, they're going to start the Insurrection Act. How are these people going to want to join into that when they're not even getting fucking paid to fight against their own people?
Right, exactly. And so that's going to help turn some of them who might be on the fence against whatever they may have been thinking they were going to support before that, right? Because if someone messes with your money, right, with your purse, with your bank account, with your wallet, that turns people ugly. And there's a different attitude toward you messing with my money rather than my ideology, right? When it's not
Right.
affecting you.
Now,
But he's basically bit by bit tearing the government, and people, have to start to make the relationship between the government is the taxpayers. People talk about the government like it's a separate entity, but the government is us. If we were not supporting the government with our taxes and our social contract to behave in a certain way and to honor certain protocols, as I said earlier in the comments, gentleman's agreement that you do things a certain established way, and it wasn't all in the law. It wasn't written down in stone. He is now destroying all the things as well as the things that are written in stone. So there
Yeah.
are no limitations. And he did this. I'm from the East Coast, as you know. He did this. I live in New Jersey. I worked in New York City. My dad worked in New York City in the financial industry. He knew Donald Trump's father personally back in the day. These people have been evil from the beginning. They twisted every system. They took advantage of every opportunity to grift. Banks at one point wouldn't, my dad was in the banking business, wouldn't even do business with Trump. The last bank to do business with Trump was Deutsche Bank, and they were going almost belly up at the time, right? There's such a history here of destruction. Everything that he does is not, and I know people like to use the phrase transactional a lot now, and a lot of people that doesn't really give them a full enough definition of what that means, transactional. He is about destroying other people, not just the transactional part of taking the money from you or not paying the money he owes you. He literally takes pleasure in seeing people suffer. As another guest pointed out, he learned all of that from Roy Cohen. Read Roy Cohen's book. That man had nothing good about him.
Hey, Mike.
No.
So,
Yeah.
speaking to JoJo's point, I saw a video today, and it was an AI video, obviously, right? Where it was the TSA agents, and everybody was going through the airport, and people started putting their things on the belt, and he was like, "Nope, government shut down, just keep going. Government shut down, we don't care, just keep going." Right? It was AI. But what if one employee saw that, right? That works for TSA and was like, "You know what? Fuck it. We're not getting paid," and let just the wrong one through, then there's an issue.
Right.
Well, that's my biggest concern. Whether it be TSA, whether it be the military, whether it be the lack of national security by way of Pete Hegseth, we are ripe for some disaster to happen in this country, some terroristic attack or something like that. God help us if that does happen, because we don't have the wherewithal to protect ourselves or even retaliate in these situations, because everything's a fucking mess.
And some of it's not even about the protection part. It's about when you are not being compensated for your effort and your loyalty and your work, like he just pointed out with that TSA example, even if it was AI, you stop caring about whether or not what you're doing is going to hurt other people, because you are personally being hurt. And when you hurt people financially, they can't exist, right? They can't pay their bills. They can't buy their groceries. They can't give their family the necessities that pay their electric bill. I mean, we're talking about going on a vacation you had to cancel. We're talking about the everyday existence and the cost of just being on this earth in this country, where you have to pay to just survive, right?
Now,
That
JoJo,
angers people.
I want your opinion, JoJo, and truckers on this one too. I heard someone say that they believe that some of the military would go ahead and follow illegal orders because they didn't want to deal with what would happen to them if they didn't, such as, court-martial tribunals, and even something as simple as losing their pay, because they couldn't afford to support their families if they lost their pay by disobeying an order and then had action taken against them.
One of the number one things that people have as a self-preservation is survival. And you're right. People will do things, and we saw that in the past, because of their fear of the retribution they will suffer in the immediate term. They're thinking about the short term, not the long term effects of what they're doing. They're also trying to survive, right? So they're saying, like many lawyers have said on this app as well, just because you say I was following orders, that is not going to admonish you from the responsibility of what you've done,
Right.
because you are an agent for yourself. You are in criminal law. You cannot follow the instructions of another that breaks the law. You are not an agent for another. That is not an excuse. If you know that you're breaking the law, even at the detriment of your survival in the moment, at the will of someone else, if you're obeying an order, you're still breaking the law. And
Yes.
we already know that Trump is not going to be, maybe even still breathing, to save any of them or to get them out like the J6ers, but he's not going to make an effort unless it has something to do for his benefit. And at this point, what benefit does he need? He basically told us in an interview not that long ago, I don't need any of you anymore. I don't care. He told
Yeah.
the magazine, I don't care about your votes, because it's not gonna matter. And people still are not getting that through their head. They're still trying to say, and I got bounced off a couple of lives 6 months ago when I said, I don't care what the Constitution says. I don't care what the law is. I don't care what past procedures are in place. He is going to do something, either manipulate it or completely cancel the election. And people said I was fear mongering. And where are we right now?
Yeah.
This
And
is
my
an absolute possibility, not even a maybe. It's going to be a possibility.
concern now is that we've got so many people that are trusting that the military will not do anything, illegal, will go against illegal orders if, like, the Insurrection Act is put into place and martial law is put into place. You know, we're counting on the military that will do the right thing and not break the law. But there are people out there that are saying that they're going to do this self-preservation thing
Yep.
and not, that they are going to break the law
Because
they're taking care of,
the fear of the self-preservation is, and this is what they talked about during, Schnazi Germany. If you think that leader is going to stay in power indefinitely, you do not want to be on the shit list, right? You're
Right.
going to do what you need to do, even though you know it is wrong, even though you know what you're doing is more than just harming people. They're losing their what over what you're choosing to do. Your belief at the time, because remember, you go into survival mode. It's a psychological thing. It's a primitive thing. And you're thinking about your own survival, your own family, and protecting those things that you care most about, because in your mind, this may be infinite, right? It may not end.
Yeah.
And if you're on the wrong side of the bad guy, you will be ended too. So your thought is survival is, I'm going to do this, and if we come out the other side, I'm going to hope for forgiveness. What's that expression people say? Act now, ask for permission later, right?
Yeah. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is
Right? That's their
permission.
attitude. Right now, I need to be okay, and I'll worry about the consequences later. That's how they're operating.
I think it's a sad state of affairs, a sad commentary on this country, and I tend to agree with it now. I maybe wouldn't have 3 months ago. But if you are counting on the military to say no to do things that are unconstitutional, I think you're being naive, especially after what we've seen the Congress do, the Republicans.
Yep.
I thought that they would stand up and push back when it got too crazy, and they didn't. So to think the military would, I mean, I hope they would, and maybe they would, but I'm not signing on to anything at this point, because everything that I thought couldn't happen has happened, so I don't know what or who to trust.
Well, there's
Well,
several high-ranking veterans that have gotten on this app and has said as much. And they have said the problem here is, yes, they have an oath, and it is spelled out that you are supposed to be respectful and defend the Constitution and not a person or an ideology. However, they've also put a caveat in there that said, but what is an illegal order, right? That's up for debate at the moment. Then you're getting
No, it's not.
most of the
It's not up for
support.
debate, though.
No, but
If
they're
it's
saying that's the impression of the people currently in the military. You're getting more support from vets than and high-ranking ones too than you are from the military itself.
No, that's
yeah,
not correct. Because the military, we have what we call the USMC, Uniform Code of Military Justice.
Yep.
And whatever's inside of that book is what we follow to the T. Like, okay, so if I hadn't have retired from the military and this was going on, I'm a forward thinker, right? So does my right to get paid or feed my family trump your constitutional rights? No, it doesn't. So I'm not following that order. I'm going to take the hit in the short run because when this thing is all said and done, I can't take care of my family 3 years from now when I go to jail for something I did now, right?
And you're a mature, experienced military from another generation, don't forget. They're talking about a lot of these young people in the military now who have been very cultish and they've exposed that and they have been influenced negatively by MAGA, by that whole attitude, and they're not so sure that they're going to do what you would have done, which would have been the honorable thing. What we're seeing, most of the support is coming from people like you and other vets who are getting out there speaking to that issue and saying, this is what you're supposed to do, this is what I would have done, this is what we should be doing. Not so sure the military that's in place now will do that. Remember, we're operating on a whole nother set of rules. All the rules have been thrown out the window. Look at all the things that we thought we could rely on, starting with SCOTUS all the way down to to Congress. None of it is working.
Right, I
None
get
of it is
that.
being put into play. None of it is working the way it was intended because it was all a gentleman's agreement. It was all, we all agreed to follow these rules. And all we need was one person to upset the apple cart and say, oh no, I'm not going to do that. And that's what Trump is. And they're all falling right in line.
Yeah, no, I get that. But my point is, when this thing is all said and done with, no matter how easy it is to get away with it now, once this regime is out of office and you got the Jack Smiths of the world coming out after you, they're going to wish they had to follow the UCMJ.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I don't think that's the way they're thinking. I think they think this is it. This is the regime that's going to be permanently in place. Probably they think for the better part of their adulthood, and they don't want to be on the side of the retribution that will come from the correct, I don't want to say the word right, I mean the correct manner in which they should have been behaving, right? Because look at how the government is falling in line. Every single congressman who's either silent is complicit or actively supporting it are complicit. They're all complicit. Silence is as complicit as you can get. If you don't stand up and do the job you've been elected to do for the people, regardless of whether you'll lose your seat and be primaried out or whatever then look what happened in Alaska. Look what that governor did. Now look at them. Now now FEMA doesn't exist. What is she going to do for her people? What is she going to do now?
exactly. You know, that's the thing. When this is all done, presumably sooner than later, when it's all said and done, there's going to be a big time house cleaning. But that house cleaning is going to be so immense. It's going to take a long, long time.
Yep, decades.
Probably for the rest of my life, there will be trials and convictions and people. I don't think they realize how long and how bad it's going to be once it's said and done, because it's not like somebody, took a piece of paper out of the DOJ that was a classified document and they get caught. These are some huge crimes. Pam Bondi should be concerned. Pete Hegseth should be concerned. Marco Rubio should be concerned.
DeSantis.
Mike Johnson should be concerned.
Abbott.
Start at the top and all of them and work down on the way down. And that's going to take forever to go through, but it's absolutely necessary that we meticulously do it one by one.
Yeah, and all the tentacles like Miller and all the other people that are influential to the government that's in place right now, the regime that's in place now. But think of it like this. I always like to give visual analogies so people can really sort of put it in their mind. You know, it you can blow up a building and it will drop just like 9/11 in a matter of seconds or minutes. But it took years of cleanup to just make the
Yeah.
site ready, to rebuild something equal or better than what was there. That's what's
Yeah.
happening to the government. They've blown it up. They're still blowing it up. And what's going to happen is no offense to anybody here, I'm not a boomer, but I'm not that far away from y'all, just about 10, 12 years. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think we will live long enough to see it repaired. And that's the part that is painful. I do not think we will live long enough to see the repair and the country we knew 5 years ago even be back. As bad as people thought that was, they have no concept of what's coming.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm 65 years old. 20 years from now, I'm 85, and who knows what happens? A lot of people could die at 79.
Yeah.
From my mouth to God's ears. But that's exactly right. It's going to take that long to get this repaired. My son and daughter-in-law just bought a house, and I go, "How long is your mortgage?" And they said 30 years. I go, "Do you realize that by the time you pay off that house, we won't even be here?"
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, come on." No, I'll be 95 years old. I won't be here. I can almost guarantee you that
Yeah.
I'm not going to be here. So those of us that are boomers need to get our heads on straight. Now, I'm a boomer that thinks differently than a lot of boomers. But
Yes,
I'm the
you
first
do.
one to say there are a lot of fucked in the head boomers.
Yes.
And I don't know that they can ever get straight. They've been like this their entire lives. They probably aren't going to change unless somebody takes their Social Security and Medicare away from them. It
Right.
wouldn't be till then. And even then, I don't know if they're bright enough to fucking figure it out.
Right. And even some Gen X. We got some Gen X that are
Oh.
borderline, the older Gen X that are closer to the boomers, and the Gen Joneses. Some of them are not quite right in their head either.
Well, 52% of Gen X voted for Donald Trump. So
Yeah.
that doesn't give us much hope for people that are a little younger than me.
Right. And now, the millennials are in the age group where they've either got very, very young families because they're young millennials, or the older millennials that have, almost grown families. And they're the ones that are seeing the most reality, I think. They start seeing in mass the most reality of what was different for their parents than it was for them, right? And
Yeah, absolutely.
the problem here is that, again, the psychological aspect of what has happened to our faith in the government has been that all along we believed, because it was practiced and on paper and written down in a way that wasn't a law, but was written down in our Constitution and our Bill of Rights and in other forms, that we all agreed at the time, right? That, all right, we agree that this is how we're going to do this. And it was only on an agreement. Same thing with the idea of having term limits. The idea that you wanted to give opportunity to judges to have a real impact being in SCOTUS for a lifetime because of their lifetime of experience and having a nice,
Right.
evenly weighted court was going to be a good thing. No more. You can't rely on that they aren't going to have their own agenda. And after 10 years, I think you need to be out. Your agenda is up. Goodbye.
No, I agree with you. We're getting down toward the end here, so that I have to bring on the obligatory guest, the show closer himself,
Oh boy.
British John. British John, welcome. You're a citizen of this country. You must be so fucking proud.
I mean, first of all, let me just say, it's been an interesting week. I actually met Jay's dad this week.
Oh, wow.
There we go.
How did you meet the dad?
I was surprised. He DM'd me. It turns out he's a full raging MAGA. Told me that the clitoris is a democratic hoax. So
And you wonder why you're the last guy always.
Yeah.
no one wonders. Everybody knows. Everybody knows.
Yeah. Everybody knows.
And if I didn't start with a J joke, even though I've not seen him in the best part of 6 weeks, you'd all be bitterly disappointed. at this point. Like, it just wouldn't be the same.
Yeah,
Maybe not.
maybe not. So, what's on your mind, British John? Obviously, you've been following all that's been going on, and what are you thinking?
It's well, first of all, I am an American now, but I am still thinking, and that somewhat sets me apart in the population.
Hey, watch it.
Some of them have got five. Some of the words have got up to 5 letters in them. No, I mean, what a week to live through. Fantastic. We managed to bring 20 hostages back out of Israel. Fantastic. Meanwhile, 20 million people in America are going to lose health insurance. I mean, can I just say, if you get sick, okay, it's on you. It's your fault because you weren't a photo opportunity. Okay? That's what I'm saying is, if you're anything less than a 6, Donnie's not going to help you. That's where we are right now. You need.
And that's being generous. A 6? Probably more like an 8.
I mean, in Reno, I'm talking a Reno 6. Really, that's a 3. And I'm sorry. Sorry. No, I mean, the Mike Johnson. Let me be serious for a second. I do this occasionally. Republicans. First of all, Chuck Schumer. Congratulations. Did you find Greg Abbott's spine? You know, he wasn't using it.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
But don't look at me like that analytic, okay? Everyone tells me what a good American he is. I have never seen him stand for the national anthem, not once. Okay, I thought he and Colin Kaepernick would be friends, both kneeling all the time. Anyway, I digress.
You would think so.
So, but I lost my
You were
thread just
talking
a little
about
bit.
getting serious. You started this out by saying, "I'm going to be serious here." I'm
Yeah,
just still
so
waiting
look,
for that part.
This is the opportunity. This is the Republican opportunity for Chuck Schumer and his friends. I don't know who is working the Chuck Schumer meat puppet, but they're doing a good job. Because so far he's not caved, he's not given in, and that surprises me. He must be sick. But the Republicans can reopen the government at 9:01 tomorrow morning. They can do this. They control all 3 branches of government. At 9 o'clock, they introduce a rules bill to allow 51 people to put legislation through to break the filibuster as pertains to the budget. They can do that. We've done carve-outs in the past. We have carve-outs for tier 3 judges, for ambassadors at this point. Okay, so you can and Supreme Court justices. Remember those? Yeah. So you put you put the rules vote in for 51 people. 51 people vote on it. J.D. Vance has to get off the couch or whatever he's doing to it and vote, and with them. And then you pass the budget, and you get to own everything that follows. That's it. It's done. 9:01. Everybody goes back to work. And the good poor people can get on with unaliving themselves. Approximately 9 million people in the first year, which will leave this earth prematurely, and 24 million in total lose their insurance by the middle of March, either through not signing up for it or being unable to afford it. And by the way, I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but bear in mind, the first 3 states to be hit the hardest: Texas, Georgia, and
Florida.
Florida, yeah.
Yeah. So look, if you're a young person, you should be for this because it's the only way you're getting into properties if grandma kicks the bucket. Yeah.
They're trying to erase a whole generation of people who they are trying to blame for taking things that they earned and worked for and actually are entitled to because it's their actual money, like Social Security, Medicare. And the idea that the abject lying that of Mike Johnson is just unbearable. It's just unbearable that he literally is trying to convince, and doesn't take much to convince them that it's the Democrats' fault that they're not in session doing the job that they own, that they have ownership over, because they are the majority party. They don't need anybody else.
Hey,
And
Mike,
they're
I got a
all
serious. Oh,
falling
I'm
for
sorry.
it.
Go ahead.
No, that's okay. I'm just saying they're all eating it and falling for it.
So I got a serious
So
question for British John because he said something that triggered a thought in my head. So when you were talking about the insurance, I saw something the other day about, I think it was yesterday, about Netanyahu tricked Trump with this whole ceasefire thing because of, and this is, I'm trying to say this to where it's not gruesome, but he knew that he wouldn't be able to recover all of the bodies because they were buried under rubble, and that's why he continues to fire. And he's saying that, hey, they broke the treaty because they didn't deliver everything that they said. What's your take on that?
my take is that I work in cybersecurity, and it's professionally troublesome for me to comment on anything that happens on the eastern side of the Mediterranean.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. God bless it.
Daddy's got
Yeah.
bills to pay. Daddy's got opinions, but Daddy's got bills.
Yeah, I forgot.
Look, tricking Trump isn't difficult. Okay,
No, no, it's
he
not.
is the Manchurian candidate. All right, he's a happy idiot. You give him put a flag behind him, tell him to smile, and he will. Monkey do, monkey loves.
Well,
That's
he's the
not
horse with the
difficult.
carrot on the stick. That's exactly
Yeah.
what he is.
The idea, and sorry, Trekker, I'm going to say that your premise is going a little bit too far towards the conspiracy theory. We know that some people won't be recoverable. I hate to say, boys and girls, I've been to 4 active war zones. My favorite's my marriage, but not everybody comes back. Okay, there's a piece of my right shoulder still in Helmand province. By the way, I'm not going back for it. There's a small part of my right arm that's in Ukraine. And there's even more of me on a gym sock somewhere in the north of England, but that's a completely different story.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Wow. Wow.
Oh, Jesus. I did
I was
not
young.
need that visual.
well, that's why
But
I like to ask those questions because, I don't like to do the conspiracy thing. And it was on the news and I saw it and I'm like, this can't be real.
yeah, no, it's
Well,
not a question of real. It's a question of narrative, and it's
Well, some of it's
I,
sense.
look, I'm troubled with the whole prison. I have been a friend of Israel my entire professional life. I wouldn't be living where I am and having a wonderful life if it wasn't for a guy called Bara and a company called Abianet back in 1995. I'm not going to go into it, but it's real life, and I've been under rocket attack up in Yokneam back in, when the hell was that? 99? Yeah, 90. Yeah, I mean, I've lived there. My brother lives in Lebanon. Like, this is, for me, it's a very real thing.
But you have to admit, this
I
isn't the Israel of 1995.
No, it's not, and it's not. I mean, I was in I was in Gaza, in Raifa. Raifa was it? No, yeah, I think it was. The night before the start of the second Intifada, back in the day, and when Yasser Arafat was still there, and and I will say, the 2 nights later, I was speaking at the King David Hotel in Jerusalem, and I had one of the most spiritual. Not a confirmed atheist. I'm a confirmed don't give a fuck. But I had one of the most spiritual nights of my life at the Wailing Wall at 2 o'clock in the morning, before, as they were getting ready to put the security gates in that you see now. They weren't there that night. They were just literally what you see now and you've seen for the last 25 years. Weren't there. You could just walk up to it. I was one of the
Yep.
last people to be able to do that. It was amazing.
And people would
I
roll up little notes and put them in the cracks at the
Yep.
wall.
Yep.
Prayers and names.
You can't help but be touched by history. There's a lot going on. Netanyahu is his own problem. He's got his own political enemies. Bear in mind, there is a massive young population who, by young is relative because I'm 49, but there's a lot of people my age and their kids who do not support this man. They do not want their kids going to a war they don't believe in. And it's he's their he's not their Trump. He's their Nigel Farage. He isn't Sherrod. He isn't the former defense minister who turned prime minister, I forgot his name, I'm afraid, wonderful man, former commando. I mean, that was a man of service. Netanyahu is a political crony, and that is all he is. Can I just address Lavender Bubbles in the comments, because she's been talking to me, or he's been talking to me. I didn't say Texas. It's nothing to do with the cost of living. It's the fact, if you go into my channel, into my page, one of the most recent videos, I do a roll call of the 20 senators who could change things and be responsible, and what is, and this is by the numbers, the proposed increase in health insurance. And I think Texas is number 5, and it's somewhere around 260%. So Senator Cruz and Senator, I forgot his name, begins with a C. Okay, they have an opportunity. Corden, thank you, sir. They wanted to break Obamacare, and they've done everything they can through the courts, through executive action, and it's on them. But the data is all in one of my rants. Yes, there's jokes, there's darkness in there, but there's real numbers in there. It's the 10 states that will be affected the most, and they happen all to be red. And by the way, the reason why Texas,
southern states,
Georgia, and Florida get hit first is because they chose not to extend, do the extended coverage.
Yep.
Those states with extended coverage, like, and believe it or not, Kentucky, I know you didn't hear that. I think that one was coming, did you, boys and girls? But you remember they did a referendum to get the extended. The governor then said, well, that question wasn't asked correctly, got taken to the Supreme Court, and they actually put it through. So California and Kentucky, share something for once, possibly STDs, but definitely healthcare insurance programs.
Oh.
So, these are real things. But the Republicans. Let me go on the other side of this, Boomer, Mike.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this. I had a bit of time on Saturday to myself. Always dangerous. I read an article in The Hill, and I think the ACA does need to go. It's done. It has been broken. The Republicans have done a great job of crippling it. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not that I do not want people to not be covered. That is not what I want. But we have to accept that it has been crippled. The fact that it needs such massive subsidies is by definition, it's not working. Where the left, because I'm not a Democrat, boys and girls, I'm just a reasonable human being, I'm also not a Republican. Where the left has to get better is messaging and marketing, okay? If you call it Trump Cares, you can have it within a year. You take the principle of Medicaid for all, okay? You establish principles for preventative care. You establish principles for emergency care, because if you get the preventative taken care of, that eliminates 2/3 of all issues. Emergency care, you're eliminating medical bankruptcy and the other issues. And you can do this on a pro-business platform, because if the government underwrites the basement, then companies and employees can cover the nice bits in the middle. You get to see your doctor. None of that changes. You'll still have choice where choice is available.
Yeah,
that's
but Tom,
crucial because
there's something you're not considering when you're saying that, because Trump could have done that the first time, right? And he could have done this, and he could do it now, as you're saying. But the problem is there is an underlying deviousness about them undoing that, not just about Obama himself and attacking that it's his plan and destroying it, is that there is a concerted effort to do damage to a certain groups of people that they do not want to care for. Even if you put the best plan in place, they are trying to eliminate a certain number of groups of people so that those monies that would normally support all the things that you're saying seem common sense to us, that they don't want to spend at all, period, which was the same attitude during C-19. Only the sick, only the old.
Jojo, I don't disagree with you.
Right?
I don't disagree with you, which is why it has to be sold, not on caring for people, but growing the economy and unlocking it. One of the biggest reasons why right now I'm not working for myself, okay, and I take a W-2, I'm technically working for myself, but the reason why I have a W-2 job up in the city, because they have a fantastic healthcare. Because we've got a 9-year-old who keeps breaking arms, okay, and I'm getting older, and I've need to get fixed. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing it, because I was spending $2,000 a month on health insurance being self-employed. Okay, because I made too much money to go through one of the exchange, and my wife doesn't want shitty coverage. Her mother and father both had medical issues and basically nearly lost their house. She would rather we spend $2,000 a month on premiums than risk that, right? And I can't unwind that particular piece of tape. So what you do is you sell it on the principles of it being good business. Because if people don't have to worry about that lower level, and by the way, the people saying it's a capitalist society, yeah, it is, okay? Those SUVs are all paid for, and they're electric, and they're expensive, and I like them. I love capitalism. It's a friend of mine. But the big unlock on entrepreneurship and creating small businesses, and by the way, small businesses become big businesses, is when people can do that because they're not going to lose their health insurance. I'm talking about your general taxation, which is already happening. Like, that money is already coming out of your paychecks. You take the cap off Social Securities. Okay, if you want to know how much money I made, last paycheck, I made $1,000 more. Why? Because I had gone up to the limit, so I don't have to pay any more now. That's ridiculous.
Right.
That is a ridiculous premise.
The cap is way too low. Okay,
it's like 100. It's like whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay?
You want to put the cap at $1 million. That would be okay. Move it, but it's too low.
Yeah, and that funds your basic, your preventative, and your emergency. That's not taking care of elective. That's not taking care. It's taking care of the minimum. And not only that, but if everybody's if this is done at the federal level, federal minimums, federal regulation, that eliminates cost. It means you have centralized AT. It means you have centralized coding. All of these things come together. Don't get me wrong. I know how many of you hate the very idea of the government being involved in your healthcare. Got news for you. 330 million of us, okay? The only thing that can move this many things and make these things happen is the government. Because if private business does it, it costs more. Medicaid and Medicare are incredibly cost efficient. Their running costs are at 2.3%.
And Congress has the best government health care on the planet. So we obviously know it works.
So, look, I've been trying to put together a video. I've written this whole thing. And, there's issues with pre-existing conditions. But we put insurance into a death spiral. Because when these insurance premiums go up, people are going to leave the system. People that will leave the system are the healthy ones, which means that healthcare costs for those that remain will go up, which means that premiums will go up.
Yep.
This is not sustainable. And the only way you're going to get it, boys and girls, in the next 3 years is if you call it Trump cares.
Right. Hey, John.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you can answer this question or not, but this has been in the chat. Like 3 or 4 different people have mentioned this, and they're talking about the Dominion voting systems, about the billionaire who bought it. Are you able to speak to that, or can somebody else speak to that?
I can't actually speak to that because I was actually tracking this because it's rather amusing. So, so this far right guy buys Dominion. Okay, it's a leverage buyout, and he goes out and he says, we're buying this company because he's one of Trump's friends, right? We're buying this company and we're going to change how voting through Dominion works. No, he isn't. We need to understand, boys and girls, is when you hit a Dominion machine, okay, do you know what it does? It sends a result electronically. Do you know what it also does? Creates a paper ballot. It actually has a physical paper trail. Every single one of them. Yes, they can correlate them quickly, instantly, but there's a backup system which runs. And the only people that it doesn't do that for is the people with sight issues who go into a special booth at the end. Guess what that does? Drops a paper ballot, which is then verified. So he does it. He makes this announcement. They're going to be doing all these things. It is hilarious because he has to get on, because then the phone starts ringing and it's their customers, and their customers are the states and the counties and some big ones like LA County with 10 million people. And they're like, hi, how you doing? You want to do what? Here's the truth, boys and girls. I don't always listen to my wife, but I always listen to my fucking customers. Okay? Yeah. They each give me $600,000 a year for putting up with my shit. Trust me, I listen to them. And they've had to. They're not going to change anything. Are they going to talk about changing things and use that as a way to drive down turnout because, if you're the wrong kind of person to vote, then your vote won't be counted? Absolutely. But boys and girls, your vote does count, and county, and it's your state and county that run your vote. It's weird that a British person's telling you this, okay? Representation with taxation. But
Well, I live in
I paid
India
a lot of money for my vote.
vacation right now.
But yeah, it's the usual. It's all messaging. It's not reality. It's like the Qatari Air Base. The Qatari Air Base is 2 dormitories and a chow hall. They are not ceding sovereignty of an airbase to Qatar. And for all the people that say, well, they do that with embassies, embassies don't have runways and hangars. Last time I checked. The problem there is we are now on day 268 of Trump in office, and there's 268 days where we haven't found out which young lady was giving him a massage, which young lady was, can tell us that which constellation his back moles look like, okay, because they exist.
Yeah.
And
these are all just more distractions that they're dangling to make people angry,
so
they could have
just said we're
focus on
doing
something that is ridiculous and has absolutely no value.
There's 150 British people right now in San Diego working at Coronado who are training on the F-35C, the Marine vertical takeoff version. Okay, we haven't ceded San Diego to the British. Not that it wouldn't be better if we did. Make America Great Britain again. Just let's start with San Diego. We like the weather.
I tell you what, we're getting to that point. I got to wrap things up, but I appreciate you all coming on. Rebecca, TJ, Trucker T, Eric, WTF JoJo, Kim,
one last thing,
British Sean, and everybody else.
If you're in California, vote yes on 50. Okay, let me give both sides of this. Right? This is it's an amendment to the California Constitution, and specifically it calls for two terms of operation, at which point we go back to the non-political drawn maps, okay? They started with this Texas, Missouri stepping up as well, right? So for all the people who want to vote against 50, okay, shut up. If you don't want to be heard, shut up. We're fine with that. If you don't vote no, just shut up, because that's what you're voting for, your own silence. So don't be a hypocrite. But if you want to be heard, if you want your vote to have any meaning in the midterms, and I'm sorry to say, because we need it in the midterms, especially with what's going on right now in the Supreme Court. John Roberts is having the Bukaki dream of his life right now.
Yes.
He's been working on this since the Reagan administration to eliminate the final leg of the Voting Rights Act. Again, a British person teaching you your history. It's wrong. And so it's even more important, not for the midterms, because some of those are in primary already and they're well affected, but for the next presidential, unless you want J.D. Vance running with Charlie Kirk's ghost, then, by the way, that was rude. And a lot of people may ask me, who is going to step into Charlie Kirk's shoes? And the honest answer is, I don't think his wife has taken them to Goodwill yet.
Yeah, no kidding.
Listen, she's got a history of her own to worry about.
Yeah, she's got some issues too. I'm going to wrap things up because I've got limited time when I redo this afterwards. So I appreciate you all for coming on. Everybody that came on during the program, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this. I hope you have a great day, and we, of course, will talk to you tomorrow.
Have a good night.